Hey everybody, I just want to make a really quick video just kind of documenting my life, the trauma, the narcissistic abuse that I suffered all my life, from young childhood to a teenager and to a young adolescence, a young adult. So just stay tuned, watch the video. Trigger warning, there will be some really uncomfortable topics, but if I feel like it can help someone, then I'm going to do it. And I want to put my truth out there in a creative way that is not demeaning or degrading to anyone else, but just the truth. So I really want to focus on me as a teenager, 14 years old. Sidebar, my daughter, my oldest daughter, is 14 years old right now and starting high school. And I feel as if that is when my trauma and the detriment of my mental and emotional well-being was completely and utterly just destroyed, completely destroyed. And like I said, this was all done by my mother. My father enabled the behavior. He never protected me. He never stopped her. And I was his child. You know, most people would like jump in if they feel like their child is being abused or their child is being put into a compromised situation. None of that happened. So I am just here to tell my truth and to just talk. So, 14 years old, starting high school. I was very, very young, very impressionable. I was never the child that was into makeup or anything like that. And let me just start there. So I have early memories of my mother forcing me to wear makeup. I felt like my mother wanted me to uphold a certain appearance or wanted me to look a certain type of way. I guess she saw a beauty in me that she didn't see in herself. And she wanted me to look a certain way. It was almost like she was trying to live her life like the beauty that she never had through me. And I just remember at a young age just being flaunted around or, you know, being told, oh, well, you need to make your face up when you go out. You can't go out looking like that. I mean, just those type of things. But I do remember at 14 years old, and this is before I met my husband. I actually met my husband when I was 14, but this was like way later in the year. I just remember that my mom had a best friend. Her best friend had a son, um, her only son, and he was 17 years old at the time. So he was a senior and I was a freshman. So he was going to senior prom and he needed a date. Now, for whatever reason, I don't know why, he couldn't have just went with someone his own age or why his mother couldn't do that. But whatever the conversation was between him and his mom, my mom and his mom, they actually were coworkers that became really good friends. For whatever reason, I came up. And I feel like my mother did this in a way to try to get in good with his mother or to get closer to her. I think she used me as a pawn in that relationship. Because why would you nominate your 14-year-old daughter to go to prom with a 17-year-old guy? Like, why would you do that? I am a mom of a 14-year-old and that shit would never fucking happen. Okay. So I just remember that my mother telling me like, oh, well, you're going to go to prom with so-and-so's son. Never even met the boy. Never met him, never seen him, didn't know anything about him. Never in the world. Now, let me just say this. When I did meet him, he was a very sweet guy, very, very innocent, very, very sweet, loving, very kind, great personality. So this is not about him at all. This is about my experience. So I just remember over those next couple of weeks leading up to prom, I just remember that my mother would make us go to church with them. So they went to the church here in town, and I was forced to go to church with them. I had met them prior to us going to church with them, but it was just a weird thing. It was almost like I was shown off like, here's my daughter. Do you like her? Do you want her? That type of thing. So me dealing with that, I was just like completely traumatized. So my mother would force me to go to church in order to be around them. and I had to wear makeup. If I did not wear makeup, or if I refused to, like, I would cry. If I refused to wear makeup, then I would be punished, severely punished for weeks on end. Like, oh, you're punished for 2 weeks, like that type of thing, because I did not want to wear makeup because I was 14 years old. I could not comprehend putting on a full face of makeup to impress a man. Like, that's just. Also, she forced me to take laxatives in order for me to lose weight. In order for me to get in my dress, which I was already small at the time, very small. I'm 14 years old. I had boobs, I had hips. I've always had that all my life. I was forced to go to the gym 3 or 4 times a week. I had to go to the gym. I had to change how I ate, and I had to take laxatives to lose weight. I remember I would take so many laxatives to the point where I was peeing out of my ass in order to lose weight, to look good in the dress that I was put in. So, long story short, prom comes around. So my mother, she buys me this dress that's very provocative. I mean, cleavage all the way showing. I had a slit all the way up the leg. I mean, I'm 14 years old and I'm dressed like a 21-year-old. So just thinking about that, and I mean, at the time, I didn't really see it that way. I mean, yeah, I thought I looked good. I knew that this wasn't right, but it was just, I had to do it. I was forced to do it. Long story short, my dad was not in the picture at all. I don't even know where the fuck my dad was or why this was okay. It was never like, oh, why are you doing this? She's too young, da 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 da. Nothing. It was like he was just absent. My husband today, if I were to do that to our daughter, he would fucking cuss me the fuck out, and rightfully so. He'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, my husband plays no games when it comes to that inappropriate shit. So prom comes. I remember, going to prom with him and everything, and it was fine. Prom was fine. It wasn't like anything like a big deal. Like I said, he was very sweet, very loving, very kind. The one thing that bothered me is that my mother left me at his house overnight. I was forced to spend the night at their house with strangers. Strangers, his sister, her husband, their young child with him. And I don't even think his mother was there. I was forced as a young child to stay at a 17-year-old's house. I'm 14 years old. Okay? 14. Where the fuck was my father at? Where the fuck was he at? Why was he not there to step in and be like, hey, why the fuck is she spending the night at this guy's house and she's only 14 years old? What did you think was going to happen? Okay, I'm 14 years old, mind you. I've never done anything like that. I am curious. Same thing for him. He's curious. What did you think was going to happen? I just remember waking up the next day at their house and going to breakfast with them and looking around like, what the fuck is going on here? What the fuck is going on? And it was like I came home, my dad saw me, there was no questions of where you were at the night before, what you were doing, and things like that. It was never a question. It was almost like I was sold and I was groomed. I was groomed. I was absolutely groomed to go to prom with him, to fulfill whatever needs that was met. And whatever happened that night, my mother was okay with. She was okay with it because it meant that she got what she wanted. She used me as a pawn to get in good with his mom, to be her friend. And it didn't matter the detriment that it caused me. That was a very traumatic and detrimental thing that happened to me. Like I said, the guy was the sweetest guy in the world. He was just collateral damage as well. But the fact that my mother was okay with it and my father was okay with it, completely mind-blowing. And that was the first memory that I knew that something was wrong and that I was in a very unsafe environment. Very unsafe. Like I said, thank God, a few months later, I met my husband and my life kind of changed from there. I was a young mom. I had my daughter at 17, but I'm kind of glad that I met my husband because he kind of saved me in the sense that I had someone that I could trust and someone that was going to love me for me and not just because of the way I looked. So yeah, more stories are to come. I just wanted to do this quick video. I don't want to keep rambling, but I just want to get straight to the point. Maybe in the next video, I'll kind of go deeper dive into everything else. But yeah, please like and subscribe. Leave a comment if you went through the same thing, or just if you want to leave some kind words. I appreciate it as well. This video is not meant to trash, to demean, to talk bad about anyone. I'm just speaking my truth, and that's it. That's all I'm doing.